Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another episode of Wave On. And today we've got a guest on for episode 21, Jen from Love SUP. And her brand, I love her stuff. She's got awesome leggings. It's awesome apparel for SUP. So it's beautiful because it's really not that easy to find a lot of trendy or cute or colorful apparel gear for our SUP lifestyle. So Jen's going to come on. She's going to share, and I know you guys are going to love it. I love her vision for her brand, and it's more than just a paddleboard and a paddle. And we're creating a community and staying connected. And I'm happy to have her on. I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. I'm loving putting this word out there and, building this connection with the SUP community, and it's worldly, right? So how cool is that? And I'm Misty, your host here in Sylvan Lake, Michigan, and I hope you guys enjoy here another episode. We've got Wave On. Hey, Jen, thanks for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Misty, it's great to be here online, tuning in from halfway across the world.
Right? Yeah, you're way ahead of me in time.
In a strange way.
Right.
Yes.
Where are you located?
Yeah, so I'm in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates right now. And this is our 12th year living here. And I am originally, and this is how small the SUP world is, we didn't know when we just started kind of connecting on Instagram that we're kind of from the same area,
right?
Metro Detroit, and actually just planning a trip back right now to Michigan to stay with my mom, which is like a mile away from you.
Which is crazy. I couldn't believe it when you said it. I was like, what? I've told this story a few times now to several other people. I'm like, yeah, we started talking, but then come to find out she's like, from the area, and then she's going to be coming back to Michigan and stuff. And another cool piece.
Yeah, Michigan is home for me, and my husband is from Sydney, Australia, and we have two kids. So they're both born in the UAE. And then I guess they're Australian American or American Australian. I don't know which goes first. I think it depends on which country you're living in at that time. So right now we're in the UAE, and they don't have UAE citizenship, but they have both other passports.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Wow. A very worldly family. How many places have you paddled around the world?
Okay. So to date, we have paddled in 25 different countries. So it's kind of become, obviously, this is a 12-year-old passion that has kind of taken us all around the world, but it started to become kind of this, all right, where's next? Like, where do we go on vacation to paddle? Before it was, we're going on holiday. Oh, maybe we'll paddle somewhere. But then it turned into, this is what we do. We love travel. We love to stand up paddle. So we mix them together, and it's an amazing way to meet other people, to see new places, see them from a different view, obviously from the water, like going down in a city in Paris or in Amsterdam. That's pretty neat, like city paddling. But, it's been, 25 countries and counting. I think we've, unfortunately, like truly grateful for all the experiences we've had, but the pandemic has put us on hold for quite some time. So we had a few more countries to cross off over the past year and a bit, but unfortunately haven't been able to. But we look forward to kind of keep exploring.
Yeah, I think a lot of paddlers right now that I've talked to, we always talk about some paddle or bucket list paddle places to go. And, it's like, we're all sitting here dreaming like, oh, where could we go? And the whole pandemic has just left us dreaming.
Yeah, so true. Like, I think on Sundays we do a SUP bucket list Sunday post for Love SUP on Instagram. And so definitely, like, that's kind of been keeping me, dreaming for the past year, and hopefully others who've been kind of like following us. But there is just like, I am just amazed by, what is the potential to paddle around the world, right? And just like, I don't know, it's one of those things, like I think we've appreciated a bit more, or had to figure out how to appreciate more like our local surroundings and find the beauty in that, and be like, okay, we can't leave like we're used to. We can still dream, but we have, we have water here. It's warm all year round. It's like summer. It's starting to get hot here in Abu Dhabi, but we've got mangroves and we got coastline, and it's we've got one area we paddle in, which we hadn't been to for a little while. That we get out in the water and there's stingrays and there's dolphins, and it looks like the Caribbean, like turquoise water. And so I think
Wow.
it's just kind of like it doesn't matter, I guess we don't have to have like huge trips planned. It's kind of made you realize, like, just find the beauty at home, find the beauty within, like appreciate what's around you. And we've definitely been able to do that because we've kind of stayed put for so long.
Yeah. How is the paddling there?
So in 2009 I like started, it was kind of my dream to start a stand-up paddle business. Didn't work out exactly the way I wanted it to, but my husband and I formed a stand-up paddle club. And so, we would do regular outings, camping trips, sunrise paddles, moon paddles, full moon paddles, kind of everything in between, teaching. And then we started having races. So I think the first race we organized was in 2011, so pretty early on. And then we've had a handful of races ever since. The World Series came here as well in 2013, 2014. And so it was kind of one of those things that kind of started taking off, and more people in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So Dubai is like an hour and a half away from here. So not too far, kind of started growing this community of paddlers, got kind of some of the more established brands in the country, and kind of things took off. The only problem with here is that it's really transient. So people come for 2 years, they might leave, they might come for 5 and then leave. So you kind of create these connections and community, and for any sport or anything really, and then people kind of leave and move on to the next thing. We've just been here for a long time, and a lot of people do stay as well long term. But so it's kind of been obviously like a constant rebuilding, kind of every couple of years. And so right now, and we had 2 kids, and so they're 6 and 3, almost 4. So there's kind of a gap there for us to kind of just focus on family stuff and not planning too many events and stuff like that.
Sure.
But this year, like post-pandemic, or sorry, it's not post-pandemic. I keep reading that, and I'm like, we're not there yet. We're still in it. We're still stuck in it. But
Yeah.
at least things are more open here, and so we've been able to see an increase in people paddling just for leisure. Most boards are sold out of the country. People got out on the water and said, hey, and I think this is worldwide. I mean, where you're from and everywhere else in the States and across the globe, people were like, oh my goodness, I got to get out. I really got to do those things that I said I wanted to, and experience something new, something adventurous. And so it's growing now again. And like we have a full moon paddle that I'm organizing tomorrow night.
Oh, cool.
So that will be good. Kind of a handful of us will go out to the local mangroves, which is really neat at night for the full moon. But I think what's been neat kind of, and I'm going to say this is kind of globally as well, but just this transition, we got into racing, and I've done everything from just kind of regular social paddling and racing and stuff, but we're kind of coming full circle, and we're like kind of starting again. And there's still lots of new people that have never paddled before. And so teaching again, and kind of starting back at the surf style boards and all arounds, and just kind of getting out and just being like, oh, I enjoy this just for the social side, and just kind of the recreational, and maybe just for fitness, for mental health, all that. And so that's kind of been like kind of a resurgence. And so it's been really neat to take new people out on the water, and not automatically be like, okay, you're going to go race. It's just kind of been this cruisy kind of let's build again community. And so that's kind of, like almost, 12 years later, we're not saying we're starting back at the beginning, but it almost feels like the beginning again. I don't know if, it's similar for you, and kind of maybe some other people feel the same experience.
I kind of felt that way a little bit last year I called it sort of a refresh. It was like, I'm not definitely not starting over, but I know I don't have like a ton of years into this, but even though I've paddled for a long time and met people that way and introduced them to it, and that's what kind of led me into teaching. But yeah, I mean, I sort of just kind of felt like that too a little bit. It was sort of like a refresh, and but it was good. It was like a nice vibration of newbies and people, wanting to try, and, just hearing their stories of even them wanting to get more experience for when they bring their friend who they think is going to be way better at paddleboarding than they are, which was funny. So I would agree. And I think that, yeah, it
I have people that were like waiting, like they're like, I've been wanting to do this for 2 years. And it's like, what have you been waiting for?
oh,
Like,
wow.
better now than later. But yeah, just to kind of see new people kind of come out of the woodwork who've obviously, might do something else, for exercise, but saying, okay, this is what I've decided to do. Or yeah, obviously lots of, everyone, women, obviously there's some we have kids kind of paddling with us. We have, people who are a little bit more seasoned paddlers. So yeah, it's a really good kind of share of that kind of experience and information, and just help people be more confident. And I love it. Like, it's been over a decade, and I mean, I've done sports all my life, and I still like the sports that I did, but swimming, I'm not like, oh, I love swimming still. But
Right.
a decade later, like, I still just love getting on board and paddling, and obviously sharing it with others. And it's no different, and I say this all the time, but it's no different like than the first day I got on board, and that's really cool.
Right. What is, do your kids go with you right now?
Yeah,
What,
so
yeah, what's the youngest that you had them out?
I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, we have some photos of like when my daughter was born. Not that we were like paddling.
Yeah.
We have a beach where we go to, and then it's just like you can put them on board. So like as young as, weeks old, right? And then probably the most like memorable time that I can think of that kind of we were like, okay, now we're kind of a paddle family. And actually my husband's handle for Instagram is the SUP family,
Nice.
and so we it's like, I guess my son was about 18 months, and so 18 months, and my daughter, I guess, was a little almost 4, over 4. And so we took him out on a mangrove paddle. It's like, you bring buckets. Well, okay, let's go like safety wise. Okay, we have leashes on, they have life jackets, they've already been comfortable in the water to just rest and relax. We've done enough at home beforehand, kind of just locally, just kind of, on and off the board, kind of spinning around, just doing stuff. So we know they were okay. So the first like trip we took was at that age. And then we brought buckets on board, gummy bears, some snacks, a lunch, like whatever you can do to kind of like, we don't know how long this will last or if this will be successful, but we brought we had shells to like, hide when we stopped at this little island so that they go find it. And then a promise of ice cream at the end. So
Oh,
this
nice.
is like all kind of all planned out, right? Kind of adventure, like first adventure. And so we have this mangrove loop that's about 8 kilometers. And so we were able to do the whole loop around. My son was basically asleep, lying flat on the board by the end. My daughter could kind of help paddle a little bit there, stand up with me. And then, and then we finished, and ice cream, and they were exhausted, but I was like, yes, this is the beginning. And then
Cool.
from then on, it's been, I mean, most of the times we go out as a family and have them on board. We've been out as family a ton since COVID, and been able to kind of just enjoy sharing the water together, but have to bring snacks, have to bring treats, have to bring, something for them to do, have to bring the Barbies, just kind of entertaining them. And my daughter, actually, she has her own paddle, and we, I don't think I would have necessarily gotten her a board for, as a 5-year-old at Christmas, but a guy was selling like a kid's board, and it's pink on it, and it's a Jimmy Lewis board, and I don't know where he got it. I think he was the dealer. And so he was selling it, and I was like, of course I'm supposed to buy this for her, like who else is supposed to buy this?
Sure.
And so She got that for Christmas, and that's
Oh,
pretty early on. But
yeah.
yeah, so she'll paddle now. We're still working on like getting a little bit on her own, a little bit more confident just on her own. But she's good. She's swimming and able to paddle, and yeah, it's
That's
cool.
nice. Yeah. That's amazing. But I also find it a little bit of a crossover for getting the dogs on the board too. Cause you gotta hold their attention. And, so two stories. So the first time I saw like a young kid on a board, I mean, probably a baby, I'm saying kid, it's more like a toddler. But you know those seats that like they sit in and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
kind of like molds around them? So it was in Tahoe and we're paddling around, and Tahoe is a big lake. And
yeah.
I see these two women come out and they're got like, really covered, for the sun, like a big giant hat like covering their shoulders and stuff. Well, I looked down and there was this baby in the little seat and the seat was like strapped around the board. And I was surprised. I was like, "Wow, I've never seen something like that with that young."
Yeah, like probably like the little bumbo seat. I've seen it a few times. Yeah, if you're water savvy, and obviously you go at the comfort of what you are
Sure,
and whatnot. I would never, push my kids if they were uncomfortable, or the weather, or kind of you measure all that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
it's kind of one of those things. Like it's great to be able to share that with each other and the water and get them kind of hooked on it early on. But
hmm
again, no pressure. Like there's days we'll
sure.
go down to the beach and the kids don't want to have
Go
nothing
out,
to do with it. So
yeah.
even though mom's like, come on, let's go have fun. It's one of those, okay, all right, let's build a sandcastle.
And what's funny with the dog is that I started her out as a puppy, and
Mm.
it put the board in the grass, and just like she's on a leash, and it's like, okay, this is how you jump on and jump off, and then I gradually took the board to the water, so it was like on the edge of the beach, and I let her get introduced to the water too, so get her feet wet, and but then again jump on the board, kind of jump off, and that's
Mm.
sort of how she kind of got introduced to it, but she's
Have you seen like
definitely,
the surfing, all the surfing dogs? They have a
yeah,
surfing contest, the SUP surfing, and there's a
yeah,
guy in Australia who has a handful of pups on board. It's pretty cool.
yeah, that's so cute. Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh. Well, you don't have a dog though, right? You
No dog.
No dog,
No.
yeah.
We travel too much, although a lot of people have gotten dogs over the last year, that's for sure. But yeah.
Yeah. A lot of sporting equipment and dogs have
Yeah,
have come around in the past year. That's so.
exactly. That's so true.
Well, tell me more about your brand and how it was born and the vision and all of that.
Yeah, so one, just kind of like it's almost a decade old, and kind of piece by piece, and have been building and building and pivoting and kind of expanding in different ways. And it started in a really simple way. We were stand up paddling in Switzerland for about 6 weeks. We were working with a guy, Neil, and he had like a tubing business, and he was just trying to introduce paddling down this river. And we stayed there, and we said we'd work for him over the summer. And so we were there for 6 weeks, and it was amazing. We were on Lake Toon, and it's this beautiful lake, like kind of you got the Alps behind you. And anyways, we're sitting there, and with I was having um, a like in the UAE, things are growing, and we have this club, but I wanted something to be more global. I wanted to feel a bit more connected to this paddling community. And I kind of, I'm not in California, and I'm not in, Florida was taking off. I'm not in Australia, like Europe's taking off. Some of these early places that have just like kind of really early buy-in, that are just people. And I was like, oh, it's not here, but I'm trying to build it here. But I felt like I wanted to kind of connect people. And so the first thing, I'm sitting kind of brainstorming about, something that could make a difference. And this is how Live Love SUP was born. So we had a blog for a while, just like taking pictures, called Live Love SUP, of just our paddles for like the previous like couple of years. And then I was sitting there, and we're like, we want to do something more. Like, what could we do? So we came up with a wristband that we could make and put Live Love SUP on it. And it's a silicone wristband, and one that had like a little bit extra part of it. It wasn't just kind of your basic one. And And then I was like, okay, let's get these made, let's sell them, and kind of always been really into kind of wondering why, like, why are we still in a world that people don't have clean drinking water, and started researching charities and charity. Um, Charity Water was kind of the forefront of like kind of building water projects and wells and stuff like that. And I said, oh, like, why don't us as paddlers all get together and we'll sell these, and then we'll fundraise for Charity Water. And then so that's kind of Live Love SUP in the very beginning. No t-shirts, nothing apparel related. And so started selling those online, and we got some t-shirts made. We had a friend of my husband, Nick, his friend, Nathan, designed a logo. And I was like, okay, that logo, like, that's it. Like, perfect. Like, okay, let's go. And didn't really think about kind of building the whole brand as much as just kind of like community, like coming together to support something. And so over the next, almost 5 years, kind of fundraised for Charity Water. We sold wristbands, built a few, so we built one complete well, and then added some other water projects. And so that was about $15,000 kind of put towards that, selling wristbands. We got some t-shirts, got some hats, did some events in Michigan, kind of were around. We did an event in Amsterdam and Switzerland. We did a couple different places, and kind of did a 24-hour paddle where we connected people throughout the world. So those were like early days. And then from there was like, okay, let's keep going with this. And it's truly become kind of one of these things like built on kind of connecting the community through a brand that you're like, I am a paddleboarder. Now people are like, I'm a paddleboarder, I sup. It's not just I go to sup today, or I might, there's a connection to it that you love it. And it's kind of just born from my love of it. And so, yeah, we just kind of ran from there. And we still we're not supporting Charity Water in the same way, but I think we've just kind of been supporting individual projects and, kind of donating items, time, teaching kind of as a whole. And we have kind of always have something in my head thinking about kind of the giving side. It's an important part, but kind of wanted to really kind of focus on too, like, what could a brand look like that you, or males too, but it's mainly I'm focusing on I kind of have the ideas, but we have t-shirts, but we started getting to leggings and jewelry and stuff, so it's a little bit more female focused. But we do have some new products for men coming out, and so then it's just like, what else can we do? That I want to wear something out of the water, and I want people to know when I'm off the water that I love this sport, like this is my sport, and it's a way to connect with other people. And hey, like, oh, you paddle, cool. So it's unique, and obviously we've been around for a while, and it's just kind of a labor of love, and we keep growing, and hopefully, good things to come.
No, it all sounds great. It sounds like a nice way how it unfolded and just kept evolving and growing, and kind of sounds like you're the advocate in the area where you live now.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, that's kind of been the, they can't get rid of me, I guess, as far as like promoting stuff here in Abu Dhabi and the UAE. But, that kind of keeps me local. And I work at New York University as well, in the athletics department. So I get to, I've created a PE stand-up paddle class. And so I get to teach that. So everything's interconnected, and everything kind of revolves around paddling. So we don't have the t-shirt, but if you see like the eat, sleep, paddle, repeat type thing, I don't know why we haven't made that. Someone else made it, but yeah, like that's pretty much me in a little yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm obsessed with it, but if you fall in love with something like this, then you can talk about it all day.
Well, it's your passion, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's it is unique. It's very I mean, I would even say for in this area, it's very, it has its niche, and like you were talking about, I mean, with females, I mean, it is kind of became very, female heavy. I mean, males still paddle, but I'm just saying, I've heard it said before too, that it has really grown for the female population, which is pretty cool to see.
yeah, I think, what's neat about like having ladies come out and learn how to paddle, especially those without like kind of a background in water sports or swimming or whatnot, is, their confidence. They learn how to paddle, they then jump on board and they have doubts about XYZ, and then all of a sudden you see them doing it. And most of the time when I teach, it's like, how many times do you think you'll fall? It's like 5, 10. I'm going to fall right off the beginning, and it's like, usually they don't. But it's kind of how we second guess ourselves, play a little small, kind of lower our expectations. And, females are better paddlers than males when they start off, typically, because they're open to learning, open to understanding, what I need to do, and just, a little bit more cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And we have better balance. But and then, after a little while, and then months go by and they get there on board and they get out on the water, and you can just see that that confidence like shine through, but it transfers from the water to other parts of life too. And I'm not saying just for women. This would happen for everyone.
Sure.
I think we're just a little bit, sometimes females are a little bit more attuned to it, but yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Because I've seen it both ways, but for females, it stays pretty consistent. Or like the males, it can be kind of all over the map. It's like either they're upset at themselves because they didn't get it right away and they fell, or they can't stand. Whereas, the female stays a little more patient and is okay. I'm okay with doing kneeling this time around. I'll be back. I'll try stand, or I mean, it's not saying they don't try standing, but if they feel more comfortable kneeling, they're okay with accepting that.
Yeah, the patience thing I think is definitely key. I've only had and the whole time I've been paddling and teaching SUP, I've only had one person ever at the end say, that just wasn't for me. I didn't really like it. And I mean, that's a lot of people to say. Like, I've taught probably thousands of people now, and the one person who said that it wasn't for them, had only gone out because his wife wanted to take a lesson, and she said that the only way he could buy new golf clubs, was if he came out for a lesson with her. So already from the beginning, you knew this wasn't going to like turn out that well. But yeah, he did it. He got his golf clubs and we never saw him again. But yeah.
That sounds very familiar. The golf clubs that wasn't existent that I know of, but the story of what you just said was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the people that come out paddling here, obviously the race scene has been notoriously, male dominated for years. And then, despite having absolutely amazing females in the sport who just continue to, push the limits and chase the men and beat the men. But yeah, like if we get another round to kind of get back into recreational racing and get people back out on the water kind of for fun, competitive in the Midwest, like, the Midwest Paddle League, it's kind of, community first, competition second. It's really kind of, we're trying to, I go to the races. So I'm just saying, like, I hopefully consider myself a part of it when I'm there. But, the founders and kind of just what that means to people just trying to get, and I would say I would do this here too in the UAE, trying to get people out racing, is like, doesn't matter your level. Have you been on a board before? Like, great, jump on. You're in a newbie race. You're in a short race. You're just coming out to have fun and surprise yourself. And like, that's the cool part, because, surround yourself with other people who like to do this, come out, have a good time. No pressure. There's always a race for basically any level. You have more competitive people. And so like, that's where, continue to see more women, but like want even more women to, maybe you do the first race or the entry race, kind of keep building confidence and being able to, we're stronger than we think. So we can be out there in some of the other events that might be a little bit longer or whatnot. But that's another great way that just we've been able to, meet people and be a part of, communities across the world.
Yeah. Do you have some Facebook groups and things like that you utilize?
Like as far as just connecting with people, like other people's Facebook groups, our own Facebook groups. What?
No, like
Yeah,
your own. Do you have one where like you to to get people involved or in the area?
yeah. So there's Abu Dhabi Stand Up Paddle Club. So that's like our group, and then
Cool.
come on, people, like let's join Live Love SUP Worldwide, Live Love SUP Paddlers Worldwide. But yeah, that's kind of one of those other kind of Facebook groups that I haven't done a whole great job of kind of adding content. But I think that's kind of like, hey, like if you love SUP and like help us, grow this brand together. What do you want? Like kind of like working on that sort of thing, and can share ideas and whatnot. There's a lot of groups out there that are great for obviously just kind of like equipment to buy, what to wear, what board should I get, all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about, to have out there for people to join. So you just join on Facebook, like search it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can put some links in later, but yeah.
Yeah, I will for sure. We're thinking of places that we do want to travel to with probably our little camper, but it's funny how you said that just looking around your surroundings and like, yeah, I am on a lake, but there are some other lakes in the area, and it's kind of funny. We went for a little drive, which like driving has not been really a thing for the past year. So I was just like, yeah, let's just get out, and we were driving around near Dodge Park, and I noticed like actually it was across from Dodge Park. So we did like a loop around Dodge Park and then went through some other little areas. And there was all these little canals. And I'm like, I did not know that this existed. And I go and I look on my phone, like at the map. And it was like, wow, you could launch from Dodge Park and go through all these. And yeah, and there was all these funny bridges. Like there's like historic, and it's just neat looking. I'm like, I didn't even know this was here. Like, how cool is that? That, it's just like in your own backyard, and, you didn't notice it
like
before.
I was saying earlier, like that's kind of what we've had to do, and then like realize new places. I mean, early on we were like, okay, where can we paddle? And unfortunately, a lot of developments happened here, so it's like access points have kind of gone away, and like a hotel was built at this beach or whatnot. But there's still places to go, or places we haven't been to, or like, hey, those new mangroves, and you have access now, and so go like check those out. And I think about like just kind of it's we can all look at Instagram and get really inspired, but also sad by these beautiful backdrops of like, if I see another picture of some drone shot in Tahiti of someone paddling, I'm gonna like, oh gosh, I don't know. Like I just transport me there right now. But it is really important. This is like a life lesson, right? Like, like look look in your surroundings, what's near, find something, and you're gonna always find something. And that's the cool part too, because like inevitably, if you go somewhere, and this has happened to us, like I remember going to Germany, and we paddled and we were in Munich, and it was like a guy was like, okay, hey, let's meet up at this lake, small lake in Germany outside of Munich. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to go to the Bavarian lake, and the lake that was, that has the mountains and the turquoise water, and it's a perfect day, and that's a 2.5 hour drive or whatever. It's like, let's, this is close, like let's just get here, we'll paddle here. And like it wasn't the most stunning lake, it wasn't necessarily picture perfect, but there was like 6 of us who paddled on the lake. We paddled around. We afterwards, we had beers at a restaurant right on the lake. We chatted for hours. You watched the sun go down over the lake, and like that was everything, because it was like the whole experience, and that might not have been if we had like trucked out to somewhere 2.5 hours away, tried to get that perfect shot or whatever. We were just kind of like, hey, let's just go and this will be fun. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's like one of those things that I think, sorry, the phone just went off, but yeah, you just kind of have to kind of go with the flow and just like find new places around you. And I think most people, like, we would be shocked to be like I'll every time I go back to Michigan, I'll paddle in somewhere new. And it won't be just Lake Michigan. It won't just be like kind of the local place I'll go. It'll be like, okay, there are a million lakes in this state.
Right.
Like, there are rivers, there are beaches, there are places, there are plenty of spots to go that we've never been. So let's go explore. And that kind of brings your sense of adventure. And we all, desire adventure, and we want
Right.
change, and we want to, have, our senses kind of woken up and be able to go out and just try something different and new. And so, yeah, that's what I would encourage people to do, is just, yeah, start, keep finding things local, but keep planning that big one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I would agree. Do you have a funny or a favorite paddle pastime from Michigan?
Yeah, definitely. We have a video on this on our YouTube, and we were in, now I'm like, so we were in the Frankfurt area, so up north.
Hmm.
I can't remember
That's the pinky side.
I can't remember I can't remember the river that goes down, maybe the Platte River. Anyways,
Yeah, maybe.
basically, after one of the races the next day, a handful of us, one of the ladies has a big giant sup, a mega sup.
Oh yeah, like a
So
megalodon.
yeah, so we all got on that. So I think there were six of us, so three on each side, and then our kids were on board.
Wow.
And then so they were like sitting in the middle, and then another person was sitting in the middle, and so we spent, I think it was about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I did silence my phone, but for some reason, like, anyways, so yeah, so we're going down this river, and it's awesome, like we're on this giant sup, and we have to paddle together, and we're all together doing that, and that is just good fun. You have a cooler on board, kind of just a fun day out.
Yeah.
Like, sky was blue, temperature was perfect. We're with friends, like, you jump off, you kind of float down the river as well, you
Hmm.
get back on. We got to see sand dunes overlooking Lake Michigan. It was that's kind of one of those memories that definitely sticks in my mind. There's a lot more. I mean, I say that the first one, but that's kind of like, that's home. And then, we could go to Maui and say, okay, Maui is definitely one to remember, like downwinding in Maliko, to, just paddling in front of the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Like, that is kind of home for us when we're in Australia, but it's still just so iconic, and paddling in the harbor, and just, it, kind of takes your breath away.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, we usually fly through when we go to the States, not this year because of the pandemic, but usually we'll stop off in Europe somewhere, take a couple days, paddle, meet up with some people. And yeah, the last time we went through Amsterdam, like, Amsterdam's such a cool place to just visit in general. Jump on a board and then go paddle around, stop at a few, places to drink or eat or whatever. And
Yeah.
if you
Wow.
can stay on a houseboat, it's awesome.
Oh, that sounds like fun too.
Mm.
Yeah, so a lot of places to go and paddle, really. I mean, you could have like a giant list for bucket list places to go, right?
Yeah, we tried to do, like, well, a map kind of just everywhere we went, and I wanted to, like, update it of, like, here's where you go, here's kind of about it. I guess it's still a work in progress. It can still happen, and we had the map, but it's just, it wasn't as content heavy as kind of what I'd wanted. But yeah, like, the neatest part is, like, if anyone's planning a trip, and it could be locally, it could be in another state, or obviously, fly internationally. One, like, there are boards to rent all over the world now. Like, that's the neat thing. Before, we had these inflatables, we carry them around. Not a lot of people would have boards, and so that was hard. Now it's super easy, but it's a great way to, like, connect with people, and you just, like, search wherever you're going, stand up paddle. Then you, like, reach out to them, and not just like, hey, I want to rent boards or sign up for this. Like, find the community there, and then join a paddle with them. Don't just go rent boards,
Right.
just from a person who's renting on the side of a beach or whatever. Like, connect with a group that paddles normally, and then go do SUP yoga, go on a SUP tour, go, on some sort of, sip and SUP night or whatever they're doing. And even if they don't speak your language, it's a different country and they don't speak English. I mean, people most likely will speak English, but
Right.
you still are able to, communicate in whatever way. And it's a great way to kind of just get connected.
Yeah, that's awesome. How, I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I mean, rentals are great. But if you're traveling, I mean, I love taking my own board, my own thing. But like you said, it's so much easier now to find places, but find it like taking a class, it's like you're diving into their world. And I mean, how cool is that? I keep saying that. I think that's my new tagline. But I mean, if I'm thinking about if someone came here and they were like, I want to stand up paddleboard in a lake because maybe all I do is ocean stuff and I want to try a lake and I want to see ducks and stuff like that and a sunset and everything. And, if they came here, I mean, they would find, people that are beginners or people that are experienced. And I just see that people are supportive of each other that way. And even if it's like, a few people that have done it a bunch of times and then you have the newbie and they're just totally supporting the newbie, like, whether they're trying to stand up and they're cheering them on. And it's just like, it's fun to witness as well, as when from that standpoint, when, people come to you that you don't necessarily know. So it's
but like, tell me, like, there's a shared energy amongst, like, when that happens, like new people get out, but like as adults, when do we ever put ourselves in a position for us to like
True.
fail or like watch us fall or
Right.
be, put ourselves out there like that? We typically don't. I mean, usually the kids are the ones kind of falling all over the place. So,
Yeah.
There takes a certain amount to kind of push yourself out there. But once you do it and you realize like, oh, cool, like people are cheering me on, people are motivating me, I all of a sudden now feel really supported in ways that I might not feel supported in other parts of my life or whatever.
Right.
And so all that stuff that like we need in our life. And so I think that's what's kind of like a real, you can be supportive and you can cheer people on, you can get people to overcome fears and be able to really just kind of be together during that experience, no matter what level you are. And sometimes you have a husband and a wife who, one is better than the other right off the bat, and they're, they've had bets on each other in a competitive way. But for the most part, we're cheering each other, on and wanting each other to, get out and enjoy it.
Definitely. My husband says it this way. He says, I see that board as the equalizer. Everybody starts at ground zero and they get on that board.
Yeah.
And it's a different experience every time.
Yeah. And probably like a complete different like situation from when like in other areas of your life, right? So, you're always, if you're the best on the golf course, you're best at the whatever, you're kind of, and then it can be a very humbling experience too, but in a very good way. But earlier we were talking about just kind of like people coming to the lake and saying, hey, just like to kind of meet up. But I find I think right now, I mean I would do this if I was traveling for business too, but like, let's say people are traveling, to Detroit for the weekend to, business meetings or something out, wherever they might be. I mean, yeah, like look, like take the time, go out, go out for a paddle in the morning, organize, get someone to, show you around, like do something a little different, like make that part of, your trip. And you can basically do that in, any city in any state and any country right now. And yeah, that's the neat part.
And totally fall into a like a loophole of just total different lifestyle. It's like, it's like your line. It's more than a board and a paddle. It's more than that, especially with the community that I feel like has really started to kind of blossom in the last maybe 6 months or more, just with the whole pandemic and everyone shifting and getting boards. And then, how many times have I already heard, I got the board last summer and I always wanted when I finally did it. And wow, how cool. I'm finding all of these other unique paddlers around the world on Instagram, and we're connecting, and it just having fun with it.
Yeah, like when it goes back to it, it's like, okay, if you're out on the water and you're not like having fun and enjoying it, then yeah, come talk to me. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, of course, like you have a busy week, you're stressed, like, that's a perfect way to get back out on the water and enjoy, and like the mental health side of just kind of being able to de-stress. And it really kind of keep me mentally fit as well.
Sure.
At some low points over the last year. And so I know that being able to do that is really, really important for me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going out on the water and then, it's just a constant, like, this is a place to be mindful and to like let things just kind of go and start thinking about, we say it's basically kind of like a walking meditation. It's a paddle meditation. It's a
Mm-hmm.
place where, you don't need to think about, usually we don't bring our phones. Well, bring our phones for safety, but we're not like scrolling them. So you're
Yeah,
kind of phone free.
kind of tucked
No one's going
away.
to contact you. Then you're out on the water. You don't have to go fast. No one is, you can just kind of cruise, like release everything, empty your brain. But you could also go out and just constantly like, I need to do this and then what's next. And if you like that kind of planning ahead, okay. But I know for me, it's like switch off, water time.
Yep.
Like that is my time to regroup and, be ready for whatever life throws at me next.
Since you have a lot of paddle experience between rivers, lakes, and oceans and stuff, what what would you like? What would you give as a piece of advice? Maybe something really small, like a little nugget. If you're more of a Midwest paddler and you're going on vacation to an ocean, and you're like,
Mm,
well, I can't find that community like that we're talking about, and they have to
yeah.
rent.
Well, if you think you're going to come
What would you say?
well, I was going to say, if you're going to come from the Midwest and you've been like paddling in lakes only, flat water, and you're going to go out and paddle in the ocean, I mean, 100% like find someone, book a lesson. Like, don't just take a rental board and say, I can just go get out through those waves and figure out how to get back in. And, there's just really safety kind of etiquette on the water with waves, even if they're small. It's just like, how do I want to get better, faster, without kind of struggling, putting myself in harm's way, maybe other people,
Mm-hmm.
because the ocean's a dangerous place, and there's a lot to learn, and so and it's hard, and so you want the right board. You might have a board that's pretty narrow, or might be kind of great for flat water, but when you get out into the ocean, it's a whole different story. So definitely like hooking up with a lesson, completely advise and recommend, but then at the same time, like, figure out, and if you don't, then figure out, okay, like if I go out to open ocean water, making sure that you're the conditions, the weather, the conditions, and you can actually choose a very, very kind of calm period. I would say, like, you go on a flat water day in the ocean first, because it's still swirling. There's still changes in the water and whatnot. Then okay, all right, I want to try like some waves or some surfing. But yeah, that's a huge difference. Even from here, like, we are completely flat water. But what we have is wind. And so, it's not like wind swell in Dubai, there's some waves, but here in Abu Dhabi, we don't have waves. But even just the difference of paddling in wind, when most people just go out on a sunny, really flat day,
Mm-hmm.
is a huge difference.
Sure.
How you paddle stronger, you have to bend over a bit more, you have to kind of be able to get through the water and be stronger paddler, and that comes with technique. And so yeah, that was more than a big nugget, but that was a big nugget. That was
That's
a
still
small
good
nugget,
though.
but that was a big nugget. And the other thing with like paddling kind of progressing and transitioning to becoming a better paddler. Obviously, YouTube videos galore. I mean, amazing. Everyone in the SUP community who's have any kind of, from the founders, kind of new kind of early adoptees. You can find anything from early days to now, and it's just like such an amazing amount of information. But at the same time, I hear this all the time, like, oh, SUP's super easy. Just go out. Just like I can show you how to SUP real quick, and then just go and enjoy paddling. And sometimes I bite my fingernails. Obviously, if you are a teacher and you want people to learn properly and be safe and stuff, you want them to have a good experience and learn everything. And yeah, you can go out on a flat water day, paddle really lightly and say, yay, I'm doing it. It's so easy. But if we keep spreading that, one, you'll never improve.
Right.
Two, you won't know anything about technique and how to kind of like paddle in different conditions, work your whole body, get that full body workout that people talk about, that SUP is, and just kind of like grow beyond the lane line or the, or unfortunately you do that and then you think you get a false sense of confidence, and then you go out on a lake and winds change, you haven't checked the weather, this is just a lake, not even the ocean, you haven't checked the wind, you haven't checked the weather, weather changes, there's a storm, you need to get off, you need to lay down on your board and start paddling it, you have a carbon paddle. I mean, like you just gotta know how to self-rescue and like get back. And unfortunately, between not wearing leashes and people who aren't confident swimming in life jackets, then accidents happen every summer, and we can't just deny the fact that occurs for different reasons, and safety is really important. And I think that's one thing I've seen a huge push in over the last year by manufacturers, community groups, leaders in the industry, teachers, obviously, and instructors, is just real push for safety. And so that's been really, really great to see. Early days, like a leash, I guess we have our board, we should wear a leash. Like it wasn't, you wear a leash in the ocean, you wear a leash kind of, about a flat water lake, like, hey, I'm okay. Now, I mean, I'm pretty conscious of just trying to, even like when we take pictures, maybe just on our beach, and it's like, oh, the leash isn't there. Okay, if I'm going to put it online, I really want to be like showing that I have a leash, because we just need to be wearing leashes.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Little PSA there.
No, that's perfect. I love it. I would agree. And I think that, you said a lot that was about, the growing sport and safety. And then like, I would say that lately there are more that are trying to speak about the safety part of it. Cause I can remember when I first got my board, and, like I said, this lake is super, it's small. It's one of the larger inland lakes in the area, but still, life jacket even. Who knew that it was required? Or maybe it wasn't required when I first got my board, and then the rule changed. Coast Guard says this is a vessel, like you have to have one. No one was here enforcing it, and then all of a sudden, boom! One day we have a sheriff out here on the weekends now, and he was enforcing it. And at first, it was like, really? Like this is a flotation device itself. It floats in the water. I'm standing on it. It's 11 feet. Doesn't matter. Like it's required. And, anybody that's new, they may not know, they might have the same thought that I didn't know that, and they go somewhere where there's not a sheriff, and the leash is like this, your second, also protectant to keep you, attached to the board if you fall off and the board, shoots away from you like that. So, just hope to keep voicing the, importance. And it's and the photo thing, actually, I thought about that too a little bit more this year myself, and I noticed that somebody, it was in one of the Facebook groups, the paddleboard groups, I think, and they were like commented on the photo and was like, wait a minute, where's your leash, and kind of like made a big deal out of it, like kind of like made a stink. And I was like, ooh. I wouldn't want to be in that thread right now, because, if they're like you said, you're just posting a photo because you wanted it for social media. It's kind of more of a staged thing versus, actually being in the paddle moment.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you think about like what people see and how it affects, and if
Yeah.
we're in the industry and trying to promote not only just people to enjoy paddling, but we have a responsibility and kind of expectation, I think, to keep promoting safety. And it's something that even giving voice, like we have a brand, but we should. I'm definitely, that's something that I've been much more mindful of. I'm probably have used some old footage, old media, because it's just like I need some content, um but yeah, I think trying to be just kind of aware of it. And nowadays, like, just because there's people getting out of the water, one, that can't necessarily swim that well, and two, I mean, you can buy a board at Costco, you can buy a board at Walmart, you can buy a board
Mhm.
anywhere now. You can spend $200 and buy a board and be out in the water, and most of the time people just make it look like it's just a giant raft. It's just kind of like it's a toy. It's
Right.
something kind of fun that everyone can use until something happens. So yeah, I think yeah, hopefully this summer people stay safe and keep watching. Kind of some. It makes me think I should do a nice safety announcement
I
this
know.
weekend.
I'm kind of
A
getting
social media or an email, just as a reminder. Because,
inspired
yeah,
by
I
it
mean,
too.
yeah, I think I always appreciate other people doing that, and it's like, yeah, that's right. And even someone who's experienced would say, yep, gotta keep that in check.
It's an interesting point about the whole Costco board thing. Some of them I have seen in the past look like they're pretty decent boards, and then I would say over the past year or two, maybe not so good. They almost do look like a little raft of some kind, and then that kind of you know diminishes the point that it is a vessel, like in the water, and however you want to use it is up to you, I guess. But I'm just saying, as far as quality, it just makes them look more like that, kiddie pool, like the cheaper version of this that you might just be, I don't know, just maybe hanging out on it or something.
Yeah, like the sipping, drinking a beer, sipping a
Yes.
cocktail, like floating out with a leash attached to like something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's been hard in general to see the market just kind of blow up, especially inflatables became cheap to make. And um when companies put in a lot of R&D into the brands put in a lot of R&D, and then there's obviously other alternatives that are cheaper. I love the idea that it's not as cost prohibited anymore, so
Yeah.
people can get into the sport and really, no matter where they're at, can at least get some sort of board to start with. Because earlier it was really expensive, and we weren't allowing for a lot of people to access this sport. And that's a real shame. So it's been nice to be able to see prices come down and whatnot, even though sometimes I'm like, just pay a little bit more, and you'll just appreciate supporting, I guess, the industry that it kind of really dedicates their time to
Right.
developing equipment and whatnot. And you can ensure that it will stay, and it will stay inflated and whatnot. But at the same time, yeah, you also have people who just went to the store and came home with a paddleboard and had no intention of really buying it, and maybe they just throw it on the lake or something, and then their kids are using it, and before they know it, kids are not paddling, don't know how to paddle properly, and have floated off to who knows where. So yeah, big plug for safety.
Big plug for safety. No, it's good points. It's interesting topic, and
I mean, not all of them, but we have some new designs for Live SUP, and
do
some of them
tell.
are really small. But I went back with our graphic designer, and I was like, I need you to put leashes on these designs. And this is like, as an apparel company that is like just kind of it's the lifestyle, like, you get it, like, it's it's on a t-shirt, like, of course I encourage you to wear a paddle or a leash, but Like I was kind of thinking, oh, if I don't have one on this paddle or in this poster or on this design, as long as it fits, and or maybe it is there somehow. If you could see it, like, I think that's important too. So that's kind of an important message. And I just felt like that was important to do, to go back like after the fact, after we kind of designed and started getting stuff done, to kind of go back and say, okay, let's get some leashes on some of the stuff that we could.
Yeah. I see it as a prevention message. It's because of insurance. Costs keep going up for insurance if there's more accidents or things like that. Then the other one, just rules and regulations, whether it's, county, state, or country. It can be different everywhere, right?
Yeah, completely different everywhere. But at the end of the day, like, know where you're going, ask questions, get out on the water, enjoy, have fun, and like just keep exploring and finding new places and meeting new people.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. Do you have any new apparel line coming out?
So for Mother's Day, stay tuned. We're going to be launching a new bracelet, and we're going to do a giveaway. And so that's coming out. We have right now like a cuff bracelet, a ring, and a necklace, but we have a new bracelet that'll be for sale soon. Have a couple new patterns for leggings. So leggings have been really popular. So we've got some new patterns.
I love the leggings.
That's the cool part. Like, it is kind of unique and bespoke. It's like it's a niche. But people they're fun. They're fun, and they're great to paddle with. Great to do yoga, great to just go out. And then, we have some like more like kind of sports bras, some shorts, kind of combo sets, I guess, that you can kind of wear out on the water. And nice. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of the key ones I'm excited about. We have some visors. Yeah, but I'm still trying to work on a it's kind of one of these things. We can only do so much. So yeah, but it won't probably be this season, but definitely next season, getting some men's button-down shirts and that have some paddlers on it and stuff like that. So.
Oh, fun! That's awesome. So anyways, cool.
Yeah.
What's your website?
So it's livelovesup.com.
Yeah.
At Live Love Sup, everywhere Live Love Sup.
Everywhere that they can find you.
Yeah. And this summer, usually when we're traveling, we have stickers, and we'll stick, if we see a board on your car, we'll stick a sticker on your windshield and write a little note to you.
Oh, cute. Nice.
That's kind of been fun. And hopefully we'll enjoy a safe and adventurous summer in Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it. Cool. Well, thanks so much for being here. And this is a great topic, and I really enjoyed having you on the show, and I hope you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, thanks, Misty. Great to be here, and great to connect with your community as well.
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Thanks for sharing. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in. Jen, thank you. Live, Love, Sup. Go to the website, lunamoonSUPyoga.com, and use your code LUNA10 on the retail, but check out the schedule. There's classes starting to formulate. They're starting to pop up just like flowers from the earth, and we're going to have an awesome summer. So be on the lookout. Stay tuned, and I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. Thanks again for tuning in.